Frederick Nyberg. I'm the Managing Director for MedTech Innovator based here in Singapore with Predi and with Sakina. We have a very exciting few hours ahead of us. I'm going to share my screen here in just a moment and tell you a little bit of who MedTech Innovator is, what it is that we do, and how today is going to work. Now, we will be running, we will have 10 companies pitching. We have 25 judges. Not every judge will meet with every company. And because of that, we will arrange in a few minutes' time a lightning round where we will have each of the companies present for 1 minute to one slide, giving all of our judges the opportunity to see all the companies. And that's the part that we will continue to live stream on YouTube. At the end of after our YouTube live stream, we will then go into a closed door session with breakout rooms. So the startups will have to present multiple times, sometimes just twice, sometimes 3 times. Occasionally, you may have to present 4 times. There will be 4 rounds, and there will be 6 breakout rooms. We'll explain this in a bit more detail when we get to it. So that's how it's going to work. And I know many of you are familiar with MedTech Innovator, and great to welcome you back. Those of you who are not, and those of you on YouTube, let me just take a few minutes and explain who we are, what it is that we do. So MedTech Innovator has been around for about 10 years, headquartered just off the UCLA campus in Los Angeles. We set up the Asia Pacific branch in 2019. We are a non-profit organization, and we are in fact the world's largest accelerator and competition for medical device companies. The photograph that you see here, and for those of you who've been with us for a few years, you've seen this many times. And the reason is that this was the last time we all could meet in person before the pandemic. So this was in 2019 at the Asia Pacific MedTech Forum. And this was our inaugural cohort back in 2019. Now we have just to share a few stats about the program. We have 420 alumni companies that have both out of the US European program and the Asia Pacific program that have gone through the full accelerator over the years. Those 420 companies have gone on to now raise $4.3 billion in follow-on equity. There have been 24 outright acquisitions, and 1.8 billion was raised by our alumni in 2021 alone. There have been 93 funding events, more than 100 products on the market, and we have a database of applicants that now is probably closer to 8,000 than 7,000. But for our corporate partners, you have the opportunity to go deep dive into that database, which obviously has some interesting companies and information. So how do we go about finding and identifying the companies that ultimately get selected to the accelerator and to our grand finals? Well, we've built an online evaluation platform to try to be as objective as we possibly can. And our reviewers, who typically come from our corporate partners, as well as from service providers and from institutional investors, typically look at each company through the lens of these three areas: value, execution, and momentum. I'm not going to go through all of these. Value looks at things like product, value proposition, IP, competitive advantage, business model. Execution is more about the strength of the team, the development plan, milestones that have been accomplished, clinical evidence and validation, regulatory pathways, and so on. But we're also interested in understanding the momentum of each startup and to what extent they've been able to achieve their milestones, where they are on their development stage, how they manage their resources and their capital, and what sort of financial runway they have. So these are the metrics that have been used to assess and shortlist the companies that are presenting today. And they will be this will be the set of metrics that will be used to identify and ultimately select the companies for the accelerator. So this is the 2022 program overview. We begin with several hundred applicants that typically come in through December through to January, February. We are now at our second online pitch event. And of course, as you all know, the topic or the theme for today's pitch event is Diagnostics, Infectious Disease Management, and Life Science Tools. We will have 5 such pitch events. So after this, there'll be an additional 3. 10 companies typically are invited to pitch at each of these pitch events. And out of those 50 or so companies that pitch over a period of time, this is March through to May, June, we will then work with our corporate partners and our service provider partners to identify the top 20, the best companies ultimately that get selected to our 2022 Asia Pacific Accelerator. And this accelerator will be taking place from July through to September. And there will be an element of corporate mentorship during that period of time for each of those companies. And we'll have educational webinars, we'll have networking opportunities, and there'll be multiple opportunities for the companies to leverage the broader medtech innovator ecosystem. Out of the 20 companies, we will then select the top 4 or 5 that will go on to the grand finals. And in our partnership with APAC Med, that you'll hear more about in a moment, we will have those 5 companies pitched in front of a live audience at the Asia Pacific MedTech Forum, which this year will take place at the end of September. One grand prize winner will walk away with a cash check of $175,000 US, and that's completely non-dilutive. It's not a grant. It's not anything that you have to repay. We do not take equity. We do not charge a startup fee. So really for the startup applicants, there is no downside being part of our program. It's essentially all upside. But I should mention that we are not just giving away cash. We are also giving away a number of non-financial awards. There will be a Johnson & Johnson JLabs award to one of the winners. There will be a Cambridge Consultants Product Development Award. There will be an Oliver Healthcare Sterile Barrier System Design and Development Award as well. And there will be a Startup SG Grant Award from Enterprise Singapore. So a lot more actually than the cash that you see on this slide. These are the program dates. I mentioned this briefly earlier. So the accelerator and the mentorship program is July through to September, and the MedTech Forum will take place end of September. In fact, I believe, and Gabriel will correct me later if I'm wrong, that the dates will be 26th and 27th of September. It will happen down at Suntech here in Singapore, but I believe there will be a hybrid option whereby our presenting startups do not need to fly into Singapore necessarily, but can present virtually. This is what it looked like in front of a live audience back in 2019. So this is the roadmap. We held our first online pitch event on chronic disease management, renal care, OBGYN, and urology 2 weeks ago. Today, we're doing diagnostics, infectious disease management, and life science tools, and we'll continue. The next event is on the 17th of May on radiology, neurology, and GI. 1st of June is going to cover ENT, dentistry, and orthopedics, but it will also cover next generation surgical innovations. So we should perhaps clarify that here. So there will be surgical technologies and innovations will be presented at that event as well. 21st of June, then finally, will be our digital health, telemedicine, and overall wellness pitch event. Now, we couldn't do any of this without the support of our sponsors, and it's not just financial support, as I mentioned earlier, but each of these companies Johnson & Johnson, Nipro, Align Technology, Siemens Healthineers, Cambridge Consultants, Oliver Healthcare Packaging, Jabil, and Enterprise Singapore have played an instrumental role in the selection process thus far. They will continue to play that role. They review companies. They judge on for each of our on pitch events, and they will ultimately work with us to select the final companies that go into the accelerator. So big thanks to all of our sponsors. You will have an opportunity to the startups. You'll have an opportunity to meet each of them during the break. I'll have them introduce themselves and talk a bit about their organizations. Now, I'd like to introduce to you our judging panel for today. As I mentioned earlier, we have no less than 25 judges from our sponsors. So you'll see participants here from Align, from Cambridge Consultants, from Jabil, Johnson & Johnson, Oliver Healthcare Packaging, and Siemens Healthineers. I'm not going to go through each and every one on this slide. If you are a startup, you can access the bio book, and if you're a judge, you can do the same. There is a link to the bio book in probably the latest email that you received from us at MedTech Innovator. That will take you to the detailed bios and contact information for each of our judges, and they will of course introduce themselves briefly as we go into the breakouts. Now, enough talking for me. What I'd like to do now is switch to invite each of our 10 startups to do a 1-minute pitch to a single slide, so that all of our judges have the opportunity to listen to and hear from each of our startups today. We will do this in alphabetical order, and we will begin with 4Base Care, and these are the 10 companies that will pitch today. And interestingly, you can see that we have, you will see that we have companies from across the region, but not just from Asia Pacific. We have one company out of the UK, and I believe we have one presenter from South Africa today. But when we have others from Hong Kong, from Taiwan, from Australia, from India, and of course, Singapore. So if our startups could get ready, I will call on you to present as I show your slide. I will then have a stopwatch here in front of me. You should do the same. You have 60 seconds to present. I will not cut you at 60 seconds exactly, but if you go 10, 15 seconds beyond, I will interrupt, as it is important that we try to stick to the presentation schedule. So from 4Base Care, I will invite Hitesh Goswami to join us first. Hitesh, if you're online, please.
I can take that.
Okay. Very good. All right. Thank you. Over to you then.
Thanks, Frederick. So thanks, everyone. Glad to meet you here at the MedTech Innovator pitch session. I'm Kshitij, represent 4Base Care. We are a precision oncology company based in Singapore. We are also the first company from in Asia Pacific to be selected by Illumina Accelerator. So Asia has 9 million plus cancer diagnoses every year, which is more than 50% of cancer diagnoses worldwide. However, the clinical outcomes in Asia lags behind the West many folds. And the reason is that precision oncology has been utilized in the West much more than what it is being utilized in Asia. We believe this is because the costs of the technology involved, and also that the research that has been done in precision oncology is primarily based and biased towards Caucasian populations. At 4Base Care, we are changing this. We have launched unique solutions in genomics and digital health, which are low cost, which not only help us support the oncologists in taking the right decisions at the right time, but also help us gather a large resource of clinical and genomics data of cancer patients from Asia, which helps us generate our own IP and create our own solutions, but also which enables us to support various stakeholders in oncology, including healthcare providers and biopharma companies in supporting their fight against cancer.
Your time is up. I will have to interrupt you here. Thank you so much. Looking forward to hearing more about that. Next up, we have Arbel from dialing in from Hong Kong is CEO Diana. Hey, Diana, do we have you online?
Yeah, thanks. I'm representing Arbel. I'm not the CEO, but thanks for having this opportunity. Did you know that about 70% of clinical decisions made by physicians today are based on in vitro diagnostic tests? And yet, we're still seeing huge cancer burdens globally. New gastrointestinal cancer cases are predicted to increase by more than 60% by 2040. It only means that existing diagnostic tools are inadequate, and there is an urgent need for better tools. In Arbel, our founder and CEO, Dr. Luke, discovered cadherin 17 to be a specific biomarker for GI cancers. Our IVD arm makes use of proprietary technology to develop an integrated and automated cadherin 17 staining platform, digitalized sample scoring process, and cloud-based reporting. This will bring about an increase in accuracy and efficiency in a secured system to reduce man errors, and therefore better guide physicians to make informed treatment decisions. We welcome you to join our exciting journey. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Diana. Looking forward to hearing more about that. Next up, we have Cell4D, based out of London, UK. Presenting for Cell4D is CEO Jerlin. Do we have Jerlin here?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Over to you. Thanks.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Lim, CEO of Cell4D, the facial recognition technology for live cells. Why is it so hard to cure cancer? Because the hidden drug-resistant cells will eventually lead to reoccurrence and mortality. But with Cell4D, we can turn things around. Every cell has invisible but unique fossil characters. Based on such mechanobiology fingerprints, we invented the world's first biochip that can screen every single cell in a label-free, real-time, high-throughput, and cost-effective manner. Allow us to identify drug-resistant cancer cells within minutes for precision medicine or monitor immune cell activation to support immunotherapies. Cells are the building blocks for life and also key to fighting every disease. Collaborating with top universities and pharmaceutical companies, we are ready to bring our life science invention to life, make every disease more curable, and save lives. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that presentation. Very, very interesting. We will now move on to early diagnostics. And I believe we have Cherry Chia presenting on behalf of early diagnostics. Cherry?
Hi, everybody. My name is Cherry, and I'm the founder and CEO of Early Diagnostics. We are developing simple blood tests to revolutionize lung cancer screening. We want to detect lung cancer at early stages where it is the most curable. Our test is non-invasive, quick, and highly accurate. This would obviate the need for unnecessary screen, as well as invasive lung biopsy, which is painful and costly. Our test can even be extended to the non-smokers who could be at risk but are often left out of lung cancer screening as they do not meet the eligibility criteria. Our first product is a PCR test kit, but to make lung cancer screening more accessible and convenient, we are developing a second-generation product, a point of care where lung cancer screening can be as simple as a finger prick test. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very interesting technology there. We look forward to hearing more about that during the breakout sessions. Next up, we have HealthCube, and presenting from HealthCube, I believe we have Runam Mita, Chief Executive, based out of Bangalore. Runam?
Hi. So I'm representing HealthCube. The problem that we're solving is one of access. Our clinically validated, CE-approved point-of-care flagship device has been designed specifically for remote and rural use. It does over 30 tests with no electricity and no active internet requirements. So this digitally enabled solution connects caregivers to the remotest parts of our country. The impact that this technology can have is is life-saving, because in the rural parts of countries like India, Africa, etc., where diagnosis itself can take 2 to 3 days, diseases like malaria and dengue can cause death. Well, and our technology has the ability to get treatment to patients in less than 15 minutes, in addition to screening for chronic diseases. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Look forward to hearing more. We will have instant nano biosensors presenting next. And from Taipei, Taiwan, we have Tony Chung. Tony, please.
Thank you. Instant Nano Biosensors is an innovative life science company with over 35 global patents by developing ultra-sensitivity and decentralization digital immunoassay platform. The Alzheimer's disease is one of the most serious health challenges of our lifetime, affecting millions of people globally. The extended method for the early detection of Alzheimer's disease, like PET image and the test using the spinal fluid, are expensive and invasive. So our simple and ultra-sensitivity platform of biomarker detection could improving Alzheimer's disease patient journey during the post-pandemic. So the save life is our mission. Thank you very much for your listening.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that, Tony. Very, very interesting technology here. Next up, we have Ramja Genosensor from Delhi, and presenting on behalf of Ramja is Dr. Pooja Goswami. Do we have Pooja here? Pooja, you might be on mute. Anyone here from Ramja Genosensor? Going once, going twice. All right, we will.
She's on there. She's on there, but she doesn't seem to be able to talk.
Okay, so Pooja, could you get your audio to work? What we'll do is we'll go on to the next one. In the meantime, you work on your audio, Pooja, because we'd really like to hear from you, and we'll move on to the next company. Sapien from Melbourne, Australia. Presenting on behalf of Sapien, I believe, is Ashwin Ramachandran. Do we have Ashwin here?
Yeah, we do. All right. Hi, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Sapien is an at-home male fertility diagnostic built to ensure all men can access fertility and reproductive care from anywhere at any time. We built Sapien fundamentally because despite being the cause of 40 to 50% of all infertility cases internationally, male fertility is often unaddressed. And now that said, 88 to 90% of male infertility issues can be treated cost effectively, but testing for it can be highly inaccessible and often highly emasculating for so many men. So in many instances, men are unable to seek appropriate care. But also the most upsetting part about sperm samples is that they die 1 hour after you collect them. So we had to make the sample last longer in order to build a scalable business and deliver scalable healthcare value. And after 3 trials with the Australian clinical labs, we landed on a solution that essentially was a repurposed clinical medium that extends the shelf life out to 3 full days. I've translated intellectual property across 4 countries in the past and raised over $214 million for healthcare companies. And my co-founder, Abdul, comes from pharma and has launched 9 generics across 26 markets. Together with Dr. Gavin Sachs, who is the clinical director of IVF Australia, we are building Sapien. Thanks very much.
Excellent. Very impressive. Thank you for that, Ashwin. Looking forward to hearing more. We will move on to our next company, which is from Singapore, Smicna. And presenting on behalf of Smicna is Chi Lim.
Yes.
So if we have Chi Lim here, please go ahead.
All right. Good morning, your esteemed judges and my fellow entrepreneurs. Today, we proudly present microneedle patch. It's the 21st century's drug delivery system. It is painless. It can be used anywhere, at any time, by anyone. and it is also wearable. It's suitable for mass immunization as well as personalized medicine. Good morning, this is Chi. I'm from Smigna Private Limited. We are a world leader for manufacturing microneedlers. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Chi. Appreciate it. Very interesting technology there. Moving on to what would have been our final, we will go back to Ramjai in just a moment, but I'd like to invite Vitruvian MD to present, and I believe we have Iftikhar Shaikh dialing in. If it's Iftikhar, I believe he's based in Johannesburg, South Africa. Great to have you join us. I think it's the first time we have a presenter from South Africa. So Iftikhar, over to you.
Thanks. I'm Iftikhar Shaikh, co-founder of Vitruvian MD, and we're a medtech company that solves the problem of lack of healthcare access in places like Africa. So by combining biomedical engineering and state-of-the-art AI, we make high-quality medical diagnostics accessible to all people. Driven by an experienced team of businessmen, engineers, and supported by pathology partners, our solution allows any microscope to be digitized, connecting labs with low skills to experts through our telepathology platform, while our AI provides diagnostic assistance. Now, our tech is applicable in a wide range of diagnostic fields, but most exciting is our breakthroughs in male fertility with our stain-free, non-destructive DNA fragmentation analysis. Right now, we're looking for partners to pilot our tech. So join us, and together, let's make this accessibility a reality.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Iftikhar. Appreciate that. Very interesting technology there. Now, I will check again with Dr. Pooja Goswami if you can hear us, or more importantly, if we can hear you. I will go back to your slide. Pooja, take it away.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Can you hear me now?
We can indeed. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I'm the founder of Ramjai Genosensor, and antimicrobial resistance is the second most global threat of world, and still it is ignored. Like people do think that cancer is much more being taken care. So antimicrobial resistance is because of that, the death due to AMR is every death in 45 seconds, because the existing tests do take time up to 2 to 5 days. And due to this delay in test results, doctors do prescribe prophylactic antibiotics, which leads to high mortality. So here we are presenting a solution which can give you results in just 2 hours for all the infections and antimicrobial resistance. So a physician can prescribe right antibiotic at right time. For this technology, we have already received the patent from Government of India, and we also reserve the right in 152 countries. And PCT is also published in WIPO in June 2021. We have actually received support which we are looking for medtech innovators for all the learning experience and strategies to make it global. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you very much for that, Pooja. And that concludes the presentations from our 10 startups today. So thank you all for being part of this. What will happen now is that we will end our stream on YouTube and express our thanks to those of you who've been watching on YouTube. The rest will be closed sessions for our judges only, where each of our judges will be able to spend 20 minutes with the companies, 5 minutes presentations from the startups, 15 minutes Q&A. And I'll go into that in a little bit more detail on what's expected of our judges in a moment. But I think at this point, I'll ask Sakina to end our YouTube live stream. So thanks again on YouTube. We'll be back on 17th of May for our next online pitch event.